Today I'm explaining a Backrooms level known as the absolute infinity of the unknown, which is a pretty crazy name for an even crazier level. This is a place full of strange layouts, sublevels, creatures, effects, and it might be the biggest level of all time. And one of the most insane. I've said that before, and I mean it every time, but in this video, I actually do mean it. Some people even claim that this level might be the only way to actually get back to reality and to escape the backrooms. Let's be real, it's probably not that, but we shall see. Thank you for clicking on my video, I really appreciate it. Leave a like if you want more level explanations, and without further ado, let's get into the explanation, and let's see why you should never go to the basement floor level -77,192,837,452 in the backrooms. The level itself is classified as an undetermined difficulty due to its many strange properties, undocumented information, and unknown creatures that lurk in its expanses. The creatures get pretty strange in the depths or the heights of this level, and I'll explain what that means in a second. The level itself takes place inside of a gargantuan skyscraper type structure that is comprised of millions and billions of floors and levels, about 77 billion up and 77 billion down. And it's theorized that at the very bottom of this impossibly large skyscraper, there is an exit to real life, which I will explain later on in the video. Just keep that in your head. The tower itself does not obey any physical effects or any constraints that real life skyscrapers have. Obviously, you couldn't build a 77 billion story skyscraper in real life, but this one here somehow stands strong and is extremely expansive inside. The different levels inside the building also do not follow architectural designs and rules that reality has. When you initially get to the level of the absolute infinity, you'll instantly spawn inside of a really nice elevator. The elevator here is constructed with gold and silver and marble and shiny metals, and it's probably the nicest elevator you've ever been in. Elevators like this are the main method of transportation that you'll be using to get to the millions of different parts of the skyscraper. And since there are so many different levels, each of them has been split up and sectioned off for a specific reason. And the elevators that will take you to these different places, they move at an extremely high rate of speed, so if you get inside one, it is smart to hold onto a handrail, or you might fly in the air. When you look at the keypad inside of the elevator to type in what floor you want to go to, you can type in anything from floor 1 to floor 77,192,837,452. It's important to note that the elevators do not go to the negative basement levels, and that's going to be really important later. The first 1,000 floors are separated into specific types, and that exact separation will then repeat over and over and over again, all the way up until that 77 billion number is reached. So of course, I gotta go over what each floor has in store, because that's my job. Floor 1 is called Spawn Reception. And this is simply a lobby-style area where you might run into another person or two, and this place is really hallmarked by its front desks, its tall ceilings, staircases, and pretty much all the other things you'd see in a hotel lobby. The next type of floor that are slightly above this lobby spawn area are what's known as maintenance halls. These are massive, expansive, empty hallways with tiled ceilings. They typically have a beige coloration to them and are lifeless in every aspect. There's nothing here. The only thing you might run across is some janitorial supplies here and there, but there's nothing else that's interesting, so let's move on. Floors 3 through 24 are reserved for office spaces, which you've probably heard me explain a million times on this channel, so I'm not going to do it here. But I guess the most unique thing about these offices is that they're abandoned, and they're kind of stuck in that late 90s style design, the beige and white walls, old computers, cubicles, and a hazy, desaturated vibe inside. You might see a smiler or two inside of this place at some point, but you can probably beat one in a fight, I guess. Floors 25 through 74 are the storefronts, like malls and food courts and such. Throughout these places, you'll find expanses of shopping center type areas with escalators and staircases connecting the two. There's food courts, there's shopping malls, and the architecture in general can range anywhere from like a classic 1970s Americana style mall to modern day malls. And just like the beginning other floors, this place has a desaturated liminal look. The entire entirety of this level, the absolute infinity of the unknown, is color graded in a strange way, as if your eyes can't pick up any richness from the colors themselves. Everything is empty and scratchy and grainy, and it looks like it's been shot on a camera, but you're using your eyeballs, but it doesn't seem like you can see everything. The only way you can describe it is that it looks liminal. The food courts in these different floors here are extremely expansive as well, and they offer probably the biggest array of food inside the backrooms. If you want some kind of food, come to these food courts and you can get whatever you want to. According to the wiki page, you can eat any food you find, but I've made too many videos on food in the backrooms being deadly to trust any of that. Floors 75 through 149 are reserved for hotel rooms. Through these areas, every single room is unlocked and accessible to anybody who gets there. There's no secret locked doors. You can kind of just walk in and find whatever you want to. This section of floors is unique because you can see up and down to every single one of the floors via this open atrium thing in the middle of the hotel. The rooms themselves have various levels of being stocked. Some have beds and sinks and plumbing, others don't, and they look like prison cells. Try not to interact with people you run into in this section. Floors 150 to 199 are the entertainment areas, which is probably where you, the viewer, will be spending most time watching Brugly videos. But you guessed it, in these floors you can be entertained because they all have this classic bowling alley roller rink carpet, and they lead to different attractions like movie theaters, mini golf, arcades, amusement parks, and it seems just like a giant resort on these different floors here. It's important to note that the majority of these floors are empty. There's no people there. It just exists, and you're exploring through the whole thing by yourself. Floor 200 is another maintenance room, and floors 201 through 299 are the pool rooms, which are just many versions of the actual pool rooms inside of a gargantuan skyscraper. They have that tiled appearance with crystal clear blue water and bright lights that reflect off of it. The floors and everything smell of old chlorine, and if you're lucky, you might find a water slide or two that you can go down, but there's nothing else to do here. It's just pool rooms. Floors 300 through 399 are more hotels, the same as the other ones I mentioned, and floor 400 is a hospital area. And this is one of the most uncommon floors in the repeating number of them because there's only one. But you can come here if you need to find medication or some sort of treatment that I think is going to fix something that's wrong with you. I don't know. Floors 401 through 449 are the apartment zones, which are just extremely uncanny to look at. This is the only image taken of them. It's monotone, it's lifeless, and it gives me the creeps, so let's move on. Floors 450 to 452 are penthouses. These are large open rooms with curved architecture. They're much more upscale and wealthy looking than the rest of the level. They oftentimes also have private pools and rooms and grills inside of them. This is where I would probably be. And then from that point onwards, the floors will repeat themselves over and over and over again for billions and billions of levels upwards. Again, it is unknown how a single building can be constructed to withhold all of these different levels without collapsing under its own weight. This specific place is known for its height. It's the tallest backrooms level in history. It's got like 70 billion floors, but it's not just the height and how high you can go up that is a big factor inside of this level, because another part of it is the expansive network of basement levels that can be explored if you're willing to walk down a million flights of stairs. As I said earlier, the elevators do not go down, they only go up. So the only places and only ways you can enter the basement is via staircases to the lower levels. These staircases are not really dingy, but they are dark and they're cramped, and it's just a typical staircase system you might find in a skyscraper. There's a metal railing, tiled floor, and it just goes down and down and down forever, connecting to the lower levels. The furthest anyone's ever been able to explore down is for 3,000 negative levels, and what they found is that it repeats the same pattern as what I previously mentioned. You know, hotels, apartments, lobbies, pool rooms, things like that. After that 3,000th level negatively, the building becomes lower than cloud level. And this is why it's referred to as the negative levels down here, because there's no sunlight entering them because the clouds cover the sun. You know, the building is so tall that it pokes through the cloud line normally, and when you go up, it gets more bright. But because these levels under negative 3,000 are under the clouds, more creatures and darkness darkness will be at play. Entities in these lower levels are said to range from hounds to smilers to skin stealers, the usual stuff, all the way to unnatural things, devolved beings, and people who have gotten warped and lost deep in these negative levels and have changed into some wretched looking creature. It's not really safe or advised to go below floor -3000 because the things that lurk down there are they're not normal, they're uncanny. The level page claims that every single different floor past 65,185,100,200 is an observation deck. So that would mean that the very, very top of the skyscraper, the 77 billion, which I'm getting tired of saying, is just the single top of the skyscraper and it's just an observation deck. It is theorized though that this floor is so high that it reaches above the sun and has a similar effect as the negative levels under -3000 where there's no light and stuff. Some people think the top floor is too tall to where the light can't reach it. At the bottom of this level's page, something interesting is theorized. Quote, there have been rumors that getting to floor -77,192,837,465 may lead one to the real reception and the front doors of the tower. Opening them causes one to be transported to the front rooms in a building in New York, though it is impossible to confirm that, as a normal human being cannot walk down 77 billion floors alive due to the basement's instability. So as you can see there, some people think that the very bottom of this level, that -77 billionth floor, is how you get back to real life, and that somehow the very bottom ground level of this place is connected to maybe New York City in real life. But as I've said over and over, the elevators don't go down that far, so in order to test this theory out, some poor sap is going to have to walk down -77 billion staircases to test the theory, which I'm not even sure could physically be done. I don't think you could do that in an entire lifetime. Maybe you guys should try, I don't know, you probably rot away or getting eaten by some kind of creature, but be my guest. Like I said, the further down you go in these staircases, the more they get overwhelmed by creatures and darkness and it becomes harder to do. You know, it's not worth it. But maybe it is if it's an exit down there. There are several Backrooms levels that take place in skyscrapers that go up and down and have different levels, but none even compare to how grandiose the level Absolute Infinity is. This is the tallest level in the lore. It's definitely one of the biggest non-infinite levels just because of the sheer amount of variation in its levels and design. And it's only in one building. It's not expansive, it just goes straight up and straight down, and it just sits here empty, desaturated and liminal looking. Everything here feels like no one's ever stepped foot in it. It feels like it was created just to be empty. And while you're exploring the billions of different levels here, you'll really get to experience that emptiness. To enter the level, you can do so by going into an elevator on other Backrooms levels and typing the code 260-32009. Doing so will send you to the spawn reception, which is in this building. To exit, you can go all the way up to floor 65,185,100,209, enter the observation deck there, and you will see two doors. One door is blue in coloration, and the other door is red in coloration. The blue door leads you back to level 0, and you can start your journey all over again for some reason. And the red door leads to a mysterious level known as Beyond the Absolute Limit. Not sure you want to go there, but you could do it. This level is truly megalophobic. This massive tower poking through the cloud line. It's unnaturally expansive, that's what your mom said. And the entire place is desaturated, it's old, it's hollow, it's uncanny. You feel safe, like you want to be safe, but you're not. It's very unique in the lore, and especially if there's actually an exit on the -77 billionth floor. So there probably isn't, but it just depends on what you want to believe in. Whatever the case is, I hope you enjoyed my explanation of it. Thank you for watching all the way to the end. I really appreciate you for watching the video. Y'all are amazing, and I love each and every one of you. Make sure you leave a like on the video if you actually enjoyed it. Go down in the description below, check out my Instagram, my TikTok, my other channel, Spoogly. Tons of other stuff if you want more Broodly content. Leave a comment below also telling me what else I should cover on the channel. If you have any ideas, I'm all ears. Thank you for everything you do. I will see you in the next video.